Morning, I hope this is going to work. Nice new camera, sun's out, and I've got myself a nice new contract on the phone, which gives me lots of time, gives me lots of gigs to upload. I've got a camera, a new phone, which will hopefully allow me to do this a lot easier. And I thought, as I'm up at the workshop, I thought I would give you a quick walk around of the MGB. Hopefully there's going to be a video of the Morris Minor being uploaded fairly shortly, but anyway, so this is the MGB, and as I swing round you can see that we'll start with my engine bays up first, because it just saves me pissing around, backing around and trying to find bits and pieces. But what you can see is that this car is remarkably original. In fact, we even had a suspicion that some of the air filters might have been original. They have been changed. We have a really lovely local specialist called Tim Kelly over at St Agnes, who is an absolute gent, knows his stuff, and couldn't be more helpful to keep MGBs on the road. And he's also at a decent price as well, which really helps. This is the original soft bag for screen wash. You can see that these are picked up a bit of salt in the road conditions. There is a plate which I've got, actually I might do that in a minute. There is a plate to put in. You can see there's a couple of studs, so I'm going to need to drill out them and perhaps put a couple of self-tapping screws into that one. I had to take that out to change the steering rack. But overall, the engine is remarkably original. I don't know if this is a replacement alloy rocker cover. I know that Jess has originally had a steel one and he had a replacement alloy one. It's just one of those things. It's either one thing or the other, and to be honest, we're not that worried about it. I had to change the heater matrix a while back, which I don't know if I've written about yet, but that's a job and a half. But the rest of it, the only thing which is slightly different is it's got electronic ignition. It's AccuSpark, and to be honest, the general experience of AccuSpark isn't brilliant. So that's something which is going to get sort of done fairly sort of sooner rather than later. I'm either going to take it back to points, or I'm going to perhaps if finance is allowed, upgrade it to slightly better quality. Again, I'll probably just go and see what Tim uses, because he uses everything. He uses stuff for cars anyway. You know, if he puts it in his cars, which he sells, and his customers' cars, then you know it's going to work. Obviously, nice big fuel filter. I had a chat to Tim about this, and apparently this is where they're meant to be, and that's the fuel filter. When I did the heater matrix, I broke the wash wipe motor. I broke the screen wash motor, so that's a replacement, because obviously whenever you do anything with an old car, you never do one thing, you do lots of things. And the same with the heater control. In fact, I put the heater matrix in, and the following day there's a rubber seal in there, and that went. Lucky us. Obviously, fresh oil filter. When I bought the car, I did an oil filter change fairly quickly, because that's sensible. The plugs were virtually brand new, so I sort of left them at that. Anyway, so that's the engine bay. We'll just quickly bring it down, and here we go. She's a 1979 rubber bumpered one. Obviously roof bars, for me everything's got to be able to carry the paddleboard, so sort of that's sensible. Overall, the body's got a few issues. There's a tiny hole in there, which I've covered up with a little bit of filler because it's a windscreen out job, and it's been put with rust converter and a little bit of filler in there, so that's sort of to be done. She ideally needs new arches. I had to repair a little bit into this one, and I got a suspicion that there's probably quite a lot more filler. What happens is I also had to put a little panel in there. This is just thick paint to cover it, and a little panel in there. And I suspect that the body underneath there is probably a little bit rotten as well, because they all seem to go there. And the same way round on this side, I had to put a panel in there, replace the panel in here. There is a piece of stainless steel trim which is to go across the top, which I'm probably just going to mastic in because it saves putting any holes into the body, and again needs some new wheel arches. But other than that, she's actually quite solid. She's being a later car, there is she sits a little bit high at the front. We think that she's got an age-related sag on the back, and I'm going to be ringing up one of the companies and perhaps just give her a little bit of a 2-inch nose drop, because to be honest, it looks like she's off-roading at the moment, and I'm not it's not really what I want. There you go, shot of Tug in the background. She passed her MOT yesterday, squeaked through, but as a friend with sailing once said, a miss by an inch is as good as a miss by a mile sometimes. And you know, so she passed, so she's legal for another 12 months. In fact, actually with Tug, depending how things go, I've had her for 5 years and it might be time to let her go. She's a good little truck, but it might be time to get something which we can tow cars with. That's solid. Again, I need to get in there, drive it out, put a bit more rust converter in down here. When the windscreen comes out, we'll take all of this out, and any little holes we'll fill in with weld and rebuild. Come through. She's missing a number plate light at the back at the moment. Rubbish in the back. You can see what MG did was they put a big foam pad in here, which then kept the moisture. In fact, actually, we can see a little bit of moisture coming through there. Is that moisture or oil? And it basically rotted out this whole section, because obviously water gets in, it holds moisture, it traps, and it just rots out that whole area of the car. So it isn't uncommon. This side's a lot more solid, as you can sort of see as the phone tries to work out the light. You can sort of see the tail, you can see a little bit of the edge which I had to weld in on the panel on the other side. Yeah, she's remarkably original. Let's do a little bit of sitting in here. I know Jess keeps on saying, because Jess's car, which if we spin round, is that MGB, which is the 69, and Jess thinks it's been used pretty hard. He thinks it was like it was either raced, or it certainly had the modifications to make it look like it was. I think it's in the Sebring colour, because they raced at Sebring the GTs, I think in the late 60s. So that's sort of in the Sebring colour. A little bit hold, there's 1 or 2 little bits on the bodywork. She's getting a bit crusty, but again, you know what you expect. The interior, right, it's filled up with junk, is original. Hopefully I've got 2 new seats coming of the right type from Jess's friend who's got one of these cars and replaced his seats. Right type, right colour, because they're a bit dirty. And as we step in, you can see the dashboard. At some point we will compare dashboards to Jess's car to my car, because they are quite different. And there you go, if I put that you can see through. And fan on, you can hear the fuel pump going away. Yeah, there isn't too much wrong with her really, and could do with the tappets changing. But overall, she isn't too bad a car at all, really. And when people talk about wanting a daily driver, a usable daily driver, I drove this car up to the northeast with the restrictions and everything else allowed for my mum's birthday, for Christmas. And she's a remarkably comfortable car to sit at sort of 70, 75 on the motorway. And to be honest, I don't know really what more could you want. We'll have a little walk round. The wheels at some point are going to get updated, get the wheels repainted, but overall, she's a very good, honest little car with the full history. And this is a car which I was looking for when I bought the Morris Minor. So, yeah, anyway, that's a quick overview of the MGB. Hopefully you can see me squinting because the sun's behind us. This sun does actually shine in Cornwall sometimes. And please subscribe and keep an eye out for more updates. Thank you very much.